Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Moving at Home with Move It Marion, coming to you live from the Domain Theatre at the Meridian Cultural Center. It's a lovely morning this morning, a fine morning for Master Luke to make his solo debut. Fang won't be able to join us this morning, and although we will miss her moves and her energy, you're in good hands with Luke. He's a fantastic master of Tai Chi himself. So going to be a good morning this morning. Before we get started, can I please encourage you to say hello to us? Like us, love us, share us, and just say good morning. We love to hear from you. A few safety tips before we get started. If you haven't been active for a while, or if you have any chronic health conditions or any past injuries or current injuries, we would highly recommend that you consult with your doctor prior to commencing physical activity, and that would include our activity today. Also, please look around you and make sure that you've got plenty of space for your Tai Chi this morning. Make sure you have nothing that you can trip over, no small children, no pets, no loose rugs. Make sure there's no lamps in the way for when you're doing your ball or your rain or whatever. Just make sure you've got plenty of room to do that. And also, finally, please move within your own limitations. You know what your body can do. Listen to your body. And if there's any movements that are causing you discomfort, don't do them. And if you get a bit tired or a little bit dizzy, have a little bit of a break, have a rest, and then come back and join us if you're feeling better. Have a great morning. I look forward to seeing you say hello to us this morning, and I'll see you after the show. We've had a disaster. No, not really. I think everything's going to be okay. All right, I turn you over to Luke now. Enjoy.
Thank you, Laura. Good morning, everybody. Started out a beautiful morning, getting a little bit grey now. Doesn't matter, as we'll see. The focus on this lesson will be our visualizations. So paradise is up here. Initially, we'll focus on our warm-up. Always go through our warm-up, help prevent that injury. We'll start with our checklist. Standing nice and tall, feet together. We want to take this string and we're gently pulling it to the sky, to the ceiling, like a string puppet. We're just gently going to place ourselves on the ground, unlocking our knees. That doesn't mean we have to really bend our knees and go all the way down. We just want to unlock those knees, allowing that natural shock absorption. From here, we're going to transition the weight through to our right leg. Enjoying that transition, getting our balance. Once you've got your balance, then we can take this step. Then it can be nice, slow, and controlled. Toes first, then the heel, and we're gradually going to enjoy this transition back and sinking. We're going to come up with our fingers and just gently touching our fingers together. One by one, couple of times through. Rolling the fingers in and out. Nice and softly. Think of a flower opening and closing its petals. Once more. Turning over, little finger first. Rolling in, thumb over and out. Once again, nice and gentle. Breathing naturally, once more, and open. Turning the wrists. Once again, keep these wrists nice and relaxed. The looser that ball and socket joint is, the more fluid this movement can be, the more relaxed it can be. Let gravity do the work. We're simply holding the structure. The fingers dip down, imagining that we're dipping into that water and splashing. Think of the water between your fingers. Try and recreate every sensation that you possibly can using your mind. The more we can believe in this visualization, the more vivid we make this visualization, the more we can excite the muscles. Changing directions. Breathing in and out, nice and gently. Focusing the energy to the inside, center of the palm, bringing the hands together and rubbing the hands for warmth, generating that warmth, that energy. And I want you to picture you're in that beautiful landscape, surrounded by the mountains, standing in the pristine lake. And we're going to scoop down, scooping up that water and showering it over our head, letting the water trickle down, scooping, breathing in, showering, breathing out. Once again, we want to really create that visualization, every sensation that goes along with it. So as we pour this water over our head, imagine the water hitting the top of the skull, the muscles contracting. As the water goes down the spine, the muscles down your spinal cord contracting. The more we can trick them into believing in this visualization, the more they will react. Breathing in, breathing out. Good morning, Suzanne and Dolores. Good to see you again. Changing direction, flowing back up, in and out. Drawing up, holding the structure and letting gravity do the work as we press that ball down into the ocean. Drawing up and out. Focus on those shoulders. As we're breathing out, I want you to focus on getting those shoulders 100% relaxed as you hit the bottom. Last one. We're going to come into our rolling the shoulders, gently coming up and relaxing down. And it's perfectly fine at this point to feel some kind of stuttering, some kind of tension. Don't feel bad about tension. Tension is a good thing. It tells us exactly where we need to focus. It tells us where we need to pay attention. So use your mind, be aware, take a breath, and try and relax a little bit further in that area. And just see if you can make that stuttering or that tension just a little bit more relaxed. We don't need to make giant leaps. We just want to take baby steps. Changing direction. Up. And just settle in and out, in and out. One more. And just relaxing. We're going to bring the shoulders up, floating up like a bird. Shoulders to the side. Once again, we've got this string, and we're just going to be dipping ourselves. At the same time, we let our hands go. A point of emphasis on this exercise is actually the buttocks. People would not believe how much we are walking around clenching all the time. So on this dip, I want you to pay attention and focus and use them like Kegel type exercises so that when you dip, you're relaxing. Drawing up, relaxing. Think of yourself once again as the string puppet. If the strings are attached to my wrists or my hands, then it means my elbows and my shoulders can remain relaxed throughout the action. So although I'm using my arms, flailing them about, my elbows, my shoulders are extremely relaxed and using very little energy. One more. Coming down like the rain, working the fingertips. And drop those shoulders 100%. Let them go because we're coming back up. This time, swinging the trunk like the elephant. So similar movement, slight hip turn. It's important to note that it doesn't matter how big this hip turn is. You do not have to go all the way. It can be as subtle, as gentle as you need. Just breathing in and out. Once again, like the string puppet. Strings attached to my hands, the elbows, the shoulders remain relaxed as possible. Think about flying like a bird as well. The action itself has to be efficient. You have to be able to maintain the oxygen levels. To do that, the movement itself has to be incredibly efficient. Do as much as you can, using as little as possible. Couple more. Holding up and pressing down like a ball. Standing up straight. We'll do a very slight difference in our neck. Just for visualization's sake, I want you to imagine that you are Mr. Squiggle. Or if you don't remember Mr. Squiggle, imagine Pinocchio. We have a piece of paper out in front of us and we want to draw nice big circles on that piece of paper. Remembering that that piece of paper is in front of us. So we do not have to be right here doing over the top circles, just very gentle, out in front. Good morning, Maxine. Meredith, nice to have you here with me. Breathing in for half your circle and out for the other half. Changing directions. Good morning, Karen. Thank you for joining us. Remember to keep that ball and socket joint nice and loose. The more relaxed you can make that joint, the more fluid, the more circular this movement can be. Last one. And gently coming back to center. From here, we're going to transition down to our hips. We've worked from our fingers through to our shoulder and neck. So we'll place both hands on the hips, imagining that we've got a pole going straight down the center of our body. We want to move both hips in one direction, drawing gentle circles around that pole. It's important when you take this structure to let the structure do most of the work. When you stand there holding your hips, imagine yourself like a kid's action figure. They don't have muscles, they don't have tendons, but if you position them right and they have just enough strength in the joints, they will hold their own weight, they will hold their own balance. They just simply use good structure. That's what we want to use. We want good structure, take as much pressure off the muscles and tendons as we can. Breathing in for half your circle and out for half your circle. Once again, the size of this movement really doesn't matter. Do a couple more. And coming back to the center. We're going to drop one hand and we're going to be doing a scooping across, press, scoop, lift, come across, press. So it's important to note throughout this movement how little the arm is used. The turning from side to side is all done with the trunk. It's the arm making a small movement, the trunk making a small movement, and the legs making a small movement. We join that together and it makes it look as though the whole body is making a larger movement. And that's what that holistic approach is. Feel the weight transition through your body. In, out. One more this direction. I'm going to come back. The other direction. Imagine the sun rising, traveling around the planet and setting. Lifting and pressing. In and out. Couple more. And gently coming back to center. Placing this hand on the hip, transferring to this, lifting. Crossing, turning over, pressing. So scooping, lifting, crossing, pressing. In, out. And out. Once again, feel that weight shift from the right leg to the left leg. Back to the right. One more. And down. Coming back the other way. Lifting up like the sun. Orbiting over the planet and setting. Breathing in as the sun rises and out as it sets. In and out. One more. And coming back to our center, relaxing the arms. Let the water drip off your fingertips. Give yourself a little shake. We'll move down to our legs. So doing our toes and our ankles, and then we would have gone from our fingertips all the way down to our toes. So from here, we'll quickly go through our checklist one more time. We have our string. We place ourselves down on the ground, unlocking the knees. Transferring the weight across to the right leg, getting your balance in this position first. Then we can take this step. Then it can be controlled and slow. We transition the weight to the heel and slowly enjoy that transition back. Sinking. Once again, sinking, unlocking those kneecaps, giving us access to that natural shock absorption. From here, we're going to do our 6 fundamental exercises. We're doing our knees and ankles and toes first. So from either keep your hands by your side, nice and relaxed, or up on your hips, whatever's more comfortable for you. We're going to transition the weight to our right, stepping in, stepping out to the toes. Keep this leg as empty as possible. If this leg is truly empty, then it should be like lifting it with a string. To the toes, to the heels, to the toes. In and out. Transferring to the other leg. Once again, transition this weight first. Get your balance first before you bring this leg. Once you've got your balance, then you can truly let go of this leg. It can really be empty. Then you can just lift it up with that string. Toes, heels. In and out. Transferring the weight back across, moving to our ankles. Inside, gentle. Once again, empty leg, so we're not applying too much pressure. It's nice and gentle. Transfer, balance. In. Inside, gentle. Gentle. One more. In and out. Standing up nice and tall. Take a deep breath. Transferring the weight back across to the right leg. Slowly stepping in, taking our string, and standing ourselves up nice and tall. Very good. So that's our initial warm-up. I hope you're feeling nice and warm. I'm very warm. So we'll move straight into our 6 fundamental moves to start relaxing back down. Really going to focus on the visualizations. We always say, lead the movement with the mind. What does that mean exactly? How do we do that? It sounds more difficult than it is. If we draw that picture up here, the body has to follow. That's our basic idea, is get the visualization, really believe in your visualization, and then the muscles, the body will react accordingly. So we'll try and draw the pictures. We make them as vivid as possible, and we take the pressure off of our muscles doing all the work. So once again, we'll start with our checklist. Take your string, dip yourself down, unlocking the knees, transferring the weight to our right leg. We can step out. Good morning, Talina and Carolyn. I hope this bit brings you a lot of relaxation. From here, we sink. Once again, just unlocking those kneecaps. Now this is where we want to draw our picture. I want you to imagine that you're standing in that beautiful crystal clear ocean. Just imagine your perfect ocean, and you're standing in the water just below shoulder depth. Right, and we want to imagine that the tide is gently flowing through, and you can just feel it through the natural curve of your arms and your hands, trying to lift your hands. Right, so if the tide is going to lift our hands for us, it's important that we do not lift it out of the water. As soon as we lift our hands out of the water, that's us. That's us using our muscles to do the work. We really want to visualize that the tide itself is doing all the work for us. Good morning, Kathy and Pam. So we visualize our picture. We're in the ocean. Feel your feet sinking into the sand between your toes, the water between your fingers. Excite all those little muscles. And then you feel the tide come through, and it just lifts your hands effortlessly. As it rolls through, your hands sink back down, breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out. But it's not just your hands, it's not just your arms. When you stand in the ocean and you feel the tide, you feel the weight through your whole body. So imagine that tide coming through, lifting the weight off your body, taking some of the pressure off the joints. Breathing in, breathing out. In and out. Couple more. Going to transfer to the sweep. Direction doesn't matter. Don't worry about the movements too much at this point. Tai Chi is like learning to write. We have to train those minuscule, minute muscle movements. There's so much micromanagement and micro calculations of muscle movements. It's like a dot to dot with a lot of dots. But the more dots you have, the more round and circular your picture looks. So it sounds complex, but we use those visualizations to produce that effect without us having to do any of the work. So imagining the water between your fingers to create that gentle resistance. Out, breathing in and out. Feel that gentle pull within your fingers from the water gently flowing into your hands, and the feeling of resistance. Couple more. come back this side. We imagine that there's a ball on the surface of the water, and we're just going to bring it back to our center. And we're going to focus on this ball, visualize on this ball. The ball is an amazing mechanism, so simple, we take it for granted. Imagine the surface of the ball, the outer layer, what's it made of, what's the texture, how does it feel in your fingers, is it wet, is it hot? Try and imagine everything about that ball, and then what's it full of? Is it an inflated ball, full of air, full of fire? Make it yours. And then we're going to inflate this ball, breathing in and breathing out as we deflate the ball. Imagine that ball inflating. But also imagine that you're part of that ball. And as the ball's inflating, that you can feel the energy inside you trying to press out. But at the same time, the surface of the ball is trying to contract, pulling in. So simultaneously, we have the effect of pushing out and pulling in at the very same time. And it's not like the ball is just pushing out in one direction. It's pushing out in every single direction simultaneously, as well as pulling in every single direction simultaneously. And it gives that surface tension, that slight stretch, that internal pull, that gives it its natural bounce and deflective nature. So I want you to imagine yourself as part of that. Your skin contracting, the energy pushing out from within, creating that gentle pulling in every direction. Creating that natural bounce, that natural deflective nature. Last one. Pressing in that ball. Take that ball and we're turning it over. And feel the weight, hold that ball. You can feel it in this hand, and you can feel the contact of this hand resting on top. Really picture it. We're going to split it into two, imagining that we have two balls. Lifting one, pressing the other. Gently pressing up, gently pressing down. No preference. So I don't put more emphasis on lifting or pressing. I treat them equally, so that we can create that gentle pull within. Think of the tree, the roots reaching down into the ground, drawing up nourishment from the soil. It brings it up through the trunk, through the branches, and it feeds the leaves. And then the leaves draw in nourishment from the sun, and they take it down through the branches, through the trunk, and into the roots. And it's an endless mechanism of energy transfer from the top, feeding the bottom, and the bottom, feeding the top. Just breathing gently in and out. Once you feel comfortable with this movement, feel free to add in that gentle spinal rotation. And visualize the idea of a cyclone or a tornado. It can be quite difficult and require a lot of energy to simply lift something straight up into the air. But if we create a gentle incline and use a spiral to gently rise, we can get a lot higher or lift a lot more using a lot less. It might take a little longer. If you think of the idea of a mountain, you can climb directly up the side, but it takes a lot of energy. Or you could gently spiral around the mountain at a gentle incline, slowly going up and reach the top. It's going to take longer, but the amount of energy needed is a lot less. And it's the same on the way back down. Think of the drain plug, water rushing down the drain. Taking the path of least resistance to get as much water down that small area as quickly as possible. How does it achieve that? It uses a spiral motion. It also shows you that something that is so relaxed, so supple, so soft, can generate such force. And the water molecule doesn't change. It doesn't suddenly become harder, more solid in any way to create such force. It stays relaxed throughout the whole process. It uses momentum. One more. We're going to hold up like a leaf falling to the ground. We're going to scoop those leaves, lifting them up, breathing in, turning over, throwing them in the air, breathing out. We take a short breath in as we extend, and we use that short breath to control the long breath out. This is good training for those times that stress is going to creep in. And our breath is going to shorten as a result. If we can train our shortened breaths to take in a similar amount of oxygen as our normal breaths, then we can reduce 90% of the symptoms that come along with it. Once again, focusing on those shoulders. When those shoulders come down, I want you to focus on relaxing them 100%, because they have to come back up. We have to learn to take advantage of the very short moments we get to relax. And if we can't relax properly in those short moments, well then we're never really going to relax properly at all. One more. Out. Short breath in. And slow breath out. Use the momentum to come up, and we're coming back over the back, relaxing and pressing that ball. I say pressing that ball, but we're really using the natural forces to do the work for us. So we hold the structure. Gravity does the work. Think of a wave. Tide pushing over at the back, sucking underneath, crashing down, settling. Energy sucking up over the back, crashing down and settling. Breathing in and breathing out. In Couple more. And we're going to come back and we're just going to hold just below our abdomen. And we're going to do this so that we can be aware of our abdominal breathing. What we want to do is we want to relax the chest and breathe down so that we have that effect as though we're pushing our hands out. So we breathe in, push the hands out, breathe out, hands come in. It doesn't physically have to happen on the outside, it just gives us a good guide to feel. We want that feeling on the inside. Imagine a balloon on the inside in that abdomen. And you want to blow it up, but it's going to be one of those balloons that it just doesn't want to blow up initially. It needs to be stretched. So just don't overdo it. Don't force that breath down there and create tension to do so. It's all well and good to get air down there, but if you're doing this to produce that effect, then it's not really producing what we want. So relax the chest. Don't worry about how much air is going to get into that balloon at this point. Expand it a little bit. It'll stretch, it'll get easier. So breathing in, pushing the hands out, out, sucking the hands in. And we just want to get a bit of a rhythm. Just take 10 seconds. Relax the hands by the side. And we're going to come up shoulder height. And we're going to hug that tree while holding that ball. And we're really going to visualize this ball. That idea that we have this ball perfectly inflated at that point where it's just harmony. The ball is pushing out at the right amount, contracting in at the right amount. It creates the perfect amount of bounce. We've got a nice bouncy ball. That's what we want. We want to create that same effect within us. And we're waiting for the burn. It's going to come. You can't avoid it. The lactic acid is going to build up. It's a natural process. We welcome it. Like I said earlier, tension is not a bad thing. We can use it. As soon as you feel the burning, it's going to arise in a specific point first. Use your mind. Be aware. Where do you feel the burn first? Is it your shoulders, your elbows, your wrists? And then use your visualizations. Whether that's as simple as a ball under the armpits, an armrest, a pillow. Use whatever works. Whether it's a guardian angel just coming up and holding your arm up for you. Use that, make it yours. The more it means to you, the more it's going to affect your muscles, the more it's going to work. You feel that burn, take a breath, draw your visualizations, and just relax down onto them. 5 more seconds. And gently turning over and gently pressing down. Standing up straight. Transfer the weight across to the right, stepping in, standing up, going through your checklist one last time. We want this posture to bleed into your everyday life as much as possible so that when you just stand, you just naturally stand in great posture. Very good, give yourself a shake. Start from the top, do the legs as well, nice and relaxed. take a small break, 5 minutes, grab some water, have a sit down, have a rest. I'll go through some more exercises that we can do standing still during the downtime. Feel free to join in, but otherwise take it easy. So get comfortable, shake all the tension out. Now what we're going to be doing is cloud hands. So once again, we'll checklist our posture, feet together, got my string, holding it at the ceiling. I let myself down just a little, unlocking my knees. And that creates that gentle pull within the body. What do I mean when I say gentle pull within the body? Think of fishing. And you go fishing and you throw the line out. You don't just leave it there. You just reel it in ever so slightly so that you can use your finger to listen through the line. That's exactly what we want to do. We want to listen. We are the line. We simply create that gentle pullback, create that gentle internal pull so that we can listen. From here, transfer the weight to the right, stepping out to the left. Enjoy that transition. Take it slow. Remember, it's about the micromanagement of our movements. Like riding, we want to build up the coordination in those minuscule, minute movements. And it takes time. So don't worry about the movements. Don't worry about getting things wrong. You watch kids learn to write. They're going to write backwards, upside down, inside out. It doesn't matter. You still encourage them. Keep going. It's not that big a problem. It'll just happen organically, naturally. You'll just find one day it just starts happening. So don't put any pressure on yourself about the movements. Just keep trying. So we've got our nice position. All we do is we use a gentle hip movement to initiate this hand. And it's just like the movement we were doing before. With the gentle scooping, lifting, and across. And you want to feel that weight transition within your body from the left leg across to the right leg, down to the left, across to the right. Now, the principle itself is given in the title. Think of the name, Cloud Hands. So I want you to visualize that you're standing on top of that mountain. And as you look out, you've just got that ocean of clouds in front of you, that very picturesque scene where it's just, it looks like a river, it looks like an ocean, but it's clouds and it's coming towards you and you're just standing here waiting for them to arrive. And on the other side of those clouds, you can see the sun. And you want to reach through to that sun. So as the clouds are coming, we're just gently brushing them aside. And think of the kind of force that you need to collect and brush aside the clouds. Obviously it's not going to be sharp, and otherwise we're just a stirring rod. We're just mixing the clouds up. We need to be soft like silk so that we can collect and manipulate. So feel free to bring in the other hand. All we're doing is the exact same movement, but opposite. So one hand down, one hand up, across. One hand down, one hand up, across. But that looks quite linear. Just one hand down, one hand up, across. And we want to write cursive. So we just start to round those edges and blend it in and make it flow and look fluent. Once again, feeling that weight transition from side to side like a pendulum. brushing those clouds away. Couple more. Come back, we'll hold this ball in front and we use it to lift ourselves up nice and tall. Very good. So that's cloud hands. It's just a nice little thing that you can do standing still, nice and flow. We have worked on these exercises quite a lot on their own. So just imagine it's that at the same time, both hands. And picture that idea of that sea of clouds coming towards you and you're just brushing them away, waiting to get to the sun on the other side. And that way it doesn't matter if we're in lockdown, we can visualize these beautiful places in our head. Paradise is up here, we just have to look. So we're ready to come back. By all means, if you've had your break, come back in, we'll get into our form. Once again, we'll be putting a focus on visualization. So we'll try and create that mental image that gives us a really good clue into the kind of force we want to be producing. So we'll go through what we've learnt, starting with our checklist, of course, standing nice and tall, unlocking the knees, creating that gentle internal pull, like the fishing line. Transition my weight to the right leg, stepping out to the left, and join that transition. We don't want to just go from 50-50 to 100, back to 50-50. It's a gradual percentage rise and then gradually back. From here, take a breath, and we just sink. And we use that sink to initiate the movement. And we're lifting the ball, breathing in. So we offer the ball. They don't want the ball. That's fine. We lower the ball, breathing out. We're nice, so we try again. Lifting up at the sides, keeping the shoulders down if possible, and offering the ball once more. Imagine your fingertips stretching out to the end of the room. They still don't want the ball? That's fine, it's our ball. We'll show them what they can do. We lift it and rest it in our center. Now we're going to inflate the ball, really visualizing this ball. Inflating, feeling the tension between your hands, and then pressing it close, squeezing that air out. Going to show the ball this side. And the other side. Weight to the left leg, left hand over right. Turning the right foot inwards. Turning the ball once more. As we come in, lifting that heel, turning the buttocks and the heel at the same time. Centering in, stepping out, warding off. Extend that ward off using the trunk. So we're not extending just using the arm. We get to this point, hand in front of the heart, and we extend using the trunk, opening up the hand, reaching out, and dragging back. Right hand continues around and rests on the left wrist. We transition the weight back to the front foot and press. Now when we press, we never want to go off our center. So say we haven't pressed enough, we want to press further, we never do this. That's what this half step's for. We press, we're still straight, still in this bow stance, this bow and arrow. I'm the arrow, this is the bow. So we've got that bouncy from here. We can take that half step forward. Relaxing back, turning, making our hook. Look at your hand, transferring the toes to heels, turning over the hand, and transferring the weight forward. Once again, we don't want to press further. If we want to get further ahead, we use this half step. And back and relax. Playing the loop. Imagine when you're lifting this hand and this foot that we've got the string attached from fingers to toes, so that when I turn over, it lifts it up for me. I'm already in this position. From here, we are simply going to turn, not just the toe, but the hips and the trunk as well. So we turn, transfer that weight forward, holding a ball. Now when this weight comes forward, find your balance first. Don't bring this leg until you're balanced, until you're steady. Then we can step. Then it can be nice and controlled. From here, wild horse parts its mane. So left hand passes over the inside of the right wrist, and we come up, fingers to nose, right hand like you're bouncing a basketball. So we'll go through that one more time. I'll talk less. Sinking. Breathing in, lifting. Breathing out, lowering. In as we come up at the sides, shoulders down, and out as we offer once more. Short breath in and out as we center. Breathing in as we inflate the ball, and breathing out as we deflate it. In, weight to the right, right hand over left, weight to the left, left hand over right, right toe inwards, turning that ball once more, turning the heel and the buttocks at the same time, in, out, warding off, extending, drawing back, press forward, half step forward, and back, turning, hook, look at the hand, toes to the heel, turn over, and press, half step forward, relax, playing the loop, up, lifting those toes, and down, turning, transitioning the weight, holding the ball, getting your balance first, then step. Wild horse parts its mane. Once more, rolling back, turning, shifting the weight, holding the ball, transfer that weight, get your balance, then step. Wild horse parts its mane. Very good. We'll quickly have a look at the next movement. There's not a lot left to this form. So if we've done the wild horse parts its mane, from here, we simply take that half step forward, rising up, relaxing back, rolling a ball, small toes to heel, and then pressing forward. From there, hands down, and then our form is done. So we really only have a few more moves left. We'll focus on them, do a little bit more. So from our final wild horse parts its mane, we have a half step forward. At the same time, this hand rises up and this hand turns over. So as we roll this weight back, we just relax the elbows, relax the shoulders. We step, toes to heel, and then we push forward. We transition that weight back to the back leg, turning to the front. And then as this hand comes around in a big circular collecting motion, once again thinking a string attached from my fingers to my toes. So it comes with it. Come up, step in, turn over, flatten out, press down, lifting ourselves up straight. So very good. Thank you for everyone for joining me today. Sorry if I sounded nervous, I was. Laura will come in and do our closing comments, but thank you very much for being here with me today.
And thank you, Master Luke. You are indeed a master. I couldn't tell you were nervous. I thought you did a fabulous job. And I'd say Master Luke is the master of visualization. What I will take away from me today is that paradise is up here, which is fantastic. I jotted down a few little visualizations that I think we can take away with us. And I know this isn't all of them because I only started halfway through. Was it leading the movement with the mind?
Exactly.
Yes, leading the movement with the mind. Brushing clouds away to see the sun. Pendulums, fishing lines, water, your perfect ocean. Inflating the ball, lifting and lowering the ball. A bow and arrow. Puppet strings on your wrists. Wild horse parts its mane. And bouncing the basketball. I'm sure that's just a few of them. When Master Luke has led the classes, when we do the face-to-face classes, I've always loved the visualizations, and I do think that it's a real important part of getting those moves right. And I do think that paradise is up here, so it's a fantastic thing that Luke puts that into play for us. So thank you, Master Luke. We did miss Fang, but we certainly enjoyed your style and your visualizations as well. So thank you for joining us today. Please leave a comment. Let us know what you thought about the visualizations and any that I might have missed or any that you might want to add that you use yourself. As you know, we are here twice a week on Thursdays at 10 a.m. with Kay for the general fitness session, and Friday mornings at 10 a.m. with Fang and Luke from Meridian Connection Tai Chi. That's all for us today. We wish you a lovely weekend. Before we go, a big shout out once again to Trent and Sean, who've done a fantastic job on the audio and the camera, as they always do. Love you guys, keep moving, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye for now.